Merry Brandybuck is the next on the list, and like Frodo and Sam, he takes a while to grow into a fighter in his own right. He does get there eventually, becoming an Esquire of Rohan, a cavalryman who helped kill the dreaded Witch King of Angmar. He then returned to the Shire to find it overrun, so together with Pippin, he led the hobbits to victory over Sharky's men. For ability scores, we'll use a standard coin array. If you want to roll for stats, that's fine, just keep an eye on your dexterity. We'll start by dumping strength. Merry comes from a wealthy household and spent much of his youth just goofing off, first with Frodo and then with Pippin. Dexterity is 10. Merry has a history of getting caught and almost eaten by trees, which are not the quickest things around. He does have the requisite hobbit toughness and goes barefoot in the snow, so constitution can be 15. Intelligence is 12. He's been groomed to take over as the Master of Buckland since he was young, and despite never being tested by the ring, he is very sensitive and level-headed, so wisdom can be 14. And we'll finish off with a 13 in charisma, since he's able to rally the hobbits and lead them effectively. Brandybucks have a lot of Stour blood in with the fallow hide, so we'll make Merry a stout halfling to get +2 to dexterity and +1 to constitution, making them 12 and 16 respectively. Just like Frodo and Sam, we're lucky, brave, and nimble, so we can reroll ones, get advantage on saves against being frightened, and can duck through the spaces of larger creatures. Stout halflings are also especially resilient, getting advantage on saves against being poisoned and resistance to poison damage. Alcohol is usually a poison effect, so this will let us grab a pint without getting too drunk. The Brandybucks are some of the more militant hobbits, thanks to living on the edge of the Old Forest, and have their own commonly known horn call to rally the militia. So we'll make Merry a folk hero. That gives us proficiency with animal handling and survival, along with land vehicles and a gaming set. Though we'll switch that to water vehicles, since Brandybucks are also some of the few hobbits who have anything to do with boats. Like Frodo and Sam, we'll be starting off with some sidekick levels, but unlike them, we'll be a warrior. That gives us proficiency with con saves as well as 2 skills from the warrior list, like intimidation and perception. Since we're humanoid, we also get proficiency with all weapons, all armor, and shields. Warriors get to pick a martial role, and since Merry tended to be the one to get Pippin out of trouble, we'll make him a defender. If a creature within 5 feet attacks a creature other than us, we can use our reaction to give that attack disadvantage. Second level warriors get Second Wind, letting us regain 1d10 plus our warrior level HP as a bonus action once per rest. Then at 3rd level, our attacks can crit if we roll either 19 or 20. We're primarily going to be a dex-based attacker, so we'll use our ASI to bump that up to 14 at 4th level, skip 5th level since sidekicks don't get anything there, and pick up extra attack at 6th level to attack twice with the attack action. Battle Readiness at 7th level gives us advantage on initiative rolls, our 8th level ASI bumps our dexterity to 16, and after skipping 9th level, our AC goes up by 1 at 10th level with improved defense. That's about all we want from Warrior, so let's become a better fighter as a fighter. We'll get Second Wind again. It works exactly the same, but off of our fighter levels instead of our warrior levels. And for our fighting style, thrown weapon fighting adds 2 to the damage of our ranged attacks with thrown weapons. Both Merry and Pippin have a habit of just chucking rocks at enemies, though to be fair, there really wasn't much else that they could do when they were riding on Treebeard's shoulders. We get Action Surge at 2nd level, letting us take a second action on our turn once per rest, then at 3rd we become a Battle Master. As a student of war, we get a tool proficiency. Calligrapher seems fine. Then we get superiority dice, a pool of 4 d8s that refill on any rest, and that we can spend to fuel our maneuvers. Trip attack adds a superiority die to the damage of an attack we make, then forces the target to make a strength save if they're large or smaller, knocking them prone on a fail. Stab the Witch King in the back of the knee, and bring him down for Eowyn to finish off. Distracting Strike can give our allies an opening, adding a die to the damage of our attack, and giving advantage to the next attack someone else makes against the same target. And Menacing Attack puts the fear of the hobbits into some ruffians. Again, we add the die to the attack's damage, then the target has to make a wisdom save, and is frightened of us until the end of our next turn on a fail. While they were in Fangorn Forest, Merry and Pippin drank the Ent Draft, making them grow uncommonly tall and strong, for hobbits at least. Outsized Might gives us proficiency in athletics, lets us count as 1 size larger when it comes to carrying capacity, and gives us advantage on saves against being moved or knocked prone. Now normally 5th level fighters would get extra attack, but we already have it from Warrior and it doesn't stack, so at 6th level, the End Draft will bump our strength up to 10. 7th level Battle Masters get an additional superiority die, and with Maneuvering Attack, we can add a die to our attack's damage, and let an ally use their reaction to move up to half their speed without provoking an opportunity attack from the creature that we hit. We can also know our enemy. By studying a creature outside of combat for a minute, we can tell if they're a threat to us, as the DM tells us whether they're higher, lower, or equal to us in our choice of 2 of Strength, Dexterity, Constitution, AC, Current HP, Fighter levels, or Total Class levels. With our last ASI, we'll grab an Essential Feat for any Knight of Rohan, Mounted Combatant. While we're mounted, we have advantage on attacks against unmounted creatures smaller than our mount. We can make any attack aimed at our mount target us instead, and our mount has evasion. 9th level fighters can reroll a failed save once per day with Indomitable, and our capstone is the 10th level of fighter as our superiority dice upgrade to D10s, and we get one last maneuver, Tactical Assessment, which makes us a more effective leader by letting us add a superiority die to an insight, history, or investigation check. Now that the build is complete, let's take a look and see what we have done. Mary's a very straightforward build, but he can be quite versatile with his maneuvers. He really shines when he has someone to back him up to take advantage of his distracting strike and maneuvering attack, but even alone he can get good mileage out of trip attack. He is a little bit reliant on the maneuvers, so once he uses up all his superiority dice, he's in a bit of trouble until he can rest, but even without them, he still gets 2 attacks in a round, and has double the crit range as normal, more than enough to deal with the bandits and thugs that took over the Shire. One major benefit is that most of his features recharge on any rest. All his superiority dice, his action surge, both of his second wins, everything except Indomitable. So every time he rests, he gets most of his capability back. He is lacking in terms of magic damage, so it wouldn't be ideal to fight a Nazgul again without another magic sword, and he really isn't getting much use out of Mounted Combatant. It was great to have at the Battle of Pelennor Field, but back in the Shire, he's mostly on foot.
I'm a hobbit. And I know I can't save Middle-earth. I just want to help my friends. Frodo. Sam. Pippin. More than anything, I wish I could see them again.